All right. Hey guys. So we're gonna try this tough one here. This is definitely a more challenging tutorial edit that you guys have done in the past, and I like the idea of in fourth quarter to really kind of put you guys through the paces and seeing how you can apply skills that you've learned, but to doing more difficult things. I really want to see you guys also be able to troubleshoot, problem solve a little bit. This is one of those tutorials or one of those edits that's going to really ask you to sort of work out how to do certain things depending on the look that you want. Like a lot of edits and a lot of the things that we do in this class, there's some subjective choices that depend on you. My challenge is how much can you make me a believer in what it is, this fantasy world that you're trying to present to me. So we're going to be doing something like this edit here that I've created, a world in a jar, where your task is to put some environment, a photographic environment, into a jar and make it look like it's really in there. Now, I am going to ask that you use, for the most part, use the tutorial that I've provided. It's a really good tutorial. However, there's a few things that deviate a little bit between Photoshop that is being shown in the tutorial and Photopea that we have, but it's pretty much the same thing. So what I'm going to try to do is walk you through the process, and here's kind of my finished result, and I think it looks pretty good. Now the image that I'm using for my bottle is not quite as high res as I think I'd like, so I'm going to do this next round of edit and show you the process with an even better image. So let's go ahead and start. Now the first stage of this is kind of setting up your document the right way and getting a layer mask going that applies not just to to a particular layer, but to a bunch of layers. And we haven't done that yet. So if you watch the tutorial, it'll show you how to apply a layer mask to a group rather than to a particular layer. So I'm going to walk you through the first stages, and I'll probably be doing this in a few videos. So hopefully it'll be easier than the tutorial in the sense that I'm going to be showing you on Photopea, and I'll kind of break it down into parts. So let's begin. Let's get into this thing. So first things first, I'm going to open up a brand new file and start from scratch. And I want it to be as high res as the photo that I downloaded. So I'm just going to open that straight up. So File, Open, and I downloaded this one. And this is also in the assignment. So we're going to be doing a mason jar here. This is a really good quality image. So I think I like this one a lot. It looks very, very nice. If I zoom in, you can see it's uber crisp and good. You know, it gets a little pixely once you get in really close, but I think this looks really nice. So this will be sufficient for us to work with. Command 0 kind of puts it back in place. Next thing I'm going to need is an image that's going to be sort of in the jar. So I've got this nice little seascape. I'll be using the same exact one. So File, Open, and Place. And there's my beach landscape right there. And you can see that's not too small. And just for the time being, I'm going to switch this blend mode to overlay. Maybe multiply instead. So I can sort of see where it's going to fit. And then I'm going to resize and transform that to fit where I want it to go. Now, make sure you guys remember some of the basics. Hold the Shift key down when you are doing these kinds of transformations so that you don't distort the image. We actually want to distort it later on, but not just yet. So where do I want that to fit is the question. I kind of feel like I just want those three little buildings and a little bit of the water. I think that'll look nice with the sun almost dead center. I think that's going to look great. Check. Now, that's going to be taking its place later on in this tutorial. So for now, I'm just going to put that into the background. Now, if you watch the tutorial, which you should, watch it a couple times, by the way. I think that the guy in the tutorial really has some very cool tips and tricks, and I'm going to show you even a couple more. But watch his tutorial from beginning to end, maybe then follow my steps here too. But by watching, somebody who really knows their stuff, and that gentleman does, it really kind of helps you to see where you can go and how far you can take this thing. So what he did is he created a new folder, a new group. and that went all the way to the top of his layer stack. And I can't remember exactly what I called it. I think he called it composite or something like that. I'll call it composite 2. Hopefully I'll kind of make my tutorial look like his. And from there, he also actually I think he renamed this layer as well. He called it original. And duplicated it. And then he just put that into the folder. So one thing you can do is grab your layers and drop them into folders, and you can kind of see, it's kind of hard to see it, but you can kind of see when the folder is sort of highlighted, and then you let it go and it's in there. So you can see that this one, because it's kind of indented, it's in the folder, and I can collapse that. Okay, that means it's in there. From there, the next stage is to select and mask off the jar, but not adding the mask like we've been doing on the layer itself. Rather, we're going to add the mask to the whole gosh darn folder, which means that every time we put something else in this folder, it automatically has the mask applied to it. So it's a mask that goes with many layers except for just one. Now, obviously, you guys know at this point, I hope, that you guys can select this jar a number of different ways. And because it's got this white simple background, likely I could select it either by selecting the background and then inversing my selection, or just by selecting it with the quick selection tool, which I think in Photopea is not that good. We'll see. You know, if I use the quick selection tool, it grabbed the lid pretty fast, and you can see it's getting the interior of the jar, but not really cleanly going to the edges. There it's going pretty well. Down there you can see it missed a little bit. It's having trouble. Oh, and then it grabbed too much. Maybe if I click back. And you can see that why it's having trouble, because the white along that edge is so close to the white along the background. So in this case, if I wanted to get that selection better, I'd probably have to switch to a different selection tool. Because that's as best as I'm going to get with the quick selection. So what can I do? I could switch to the polygon lasso tool and kind of go around these edges because they're fairly straight. Maybe the magnetic, maybe the lasso. Those are all options. However, if you want to make the very best selection possible, you'll do what the gentleman does in the video, and that is use the pen tool to make a selection, which is something we haven't yet done, I don't think. So I'm going to go ahead and deselect this. Command D or Control D takes your selection out. And I'm going to switch to the pen tool here. Now, a lot of you guys might be a little intimidated by the pen tool. It takes practice, you know, and I know we haven't practiced it a ton, but it really is the best way. Now, there's where the difference comes in between the tutorial and Photopea, because it's not going to work exactly the same way. The pen tool will work the same way, but then turning that into a mask will be a little bit different. So I just wanted to show you that. So hopefully I can do this rather fast. I'll do my best working under pressure. So the pen tool. Let's go ahead and just trace along the edges of this bottle. And one thing I will mention to you guys is when you make, like I think I can get from here to here, when you make a selection using the pen tool, it's really an important thing to note that you can change your mind later on. You can move anchors around, you can fix it and get it right after the fact. So you don't have to really like worry too much about like making some small mistakes. And by the way, here you can see I've got no stroke. I do have a fill, and that fill is sort of looking weird at the moment. It will fill in the inside of this shape as I work my way around this bottle. So don't get like bent out of shape about that looking strange either. And you could turn that off. I actually like to fill in as I make this shape, because it kind of shows me how accurate I am. So I like to fill in. So I'm gonna kind of, I like to stop right before the curves a little bit, and I go to like from here all the way around to here where that straight line sort of straightens out. You can see how that allows me to sort of bend. Notice I'm pulling in the direction of the line that I'm about to go. If I click here, it'll just make a nice straight line all the way. Then I can kind of click and bring that out to there. Now, a lot of times what happens is when you do like this kind of thing and then you click again, that curve from that point is going to curve in too much. Don't sweat that. Later on we can fix it. See how it goes like way in there? Don't get too bent out of shape by that. So as you can see, the shape is kind of going around this entire bottle. I think I can probably get from this point. Well, maybe not. Let me go up to here. And I think I can get all the way around to there. Maybe not. Probably should have stopped in the middle. I think I could take this back one step and go to the middle here. That's better. So here I can pull that up to there and then finish off right there. Okay, so I've got a little wonkiness here. No big deal. Here's how you fix it. You bring the opacity down. You might zoom in a little bit too. Zooming in helps a lot. So here I'm hitting the Z key, and I can see I've got some funky bits, but that's okay. It is okay. What we're going to do is fix it with the direct select tool. What that does is it lets me select these individual anchor points and simply move them around, or even delete them. So if you double click on an anchor point, it kind of pulls up the handles and you can sort of move around. You see what I mean? So here, I think, quite frankly, I might not need that anchor point. So if I delete it, I can take it out. And I think I can kind of draw back that line with this handle right here. See, I can just sort of pull that all the way back. There we go. So what I really want to try to do is get this path, this vector path, to, as accurately as possible, reflect the edges of the bottle. And I think this part right here is actually okay. I could pull that around a little bit extra right there. This kind of bends in right there. This one, I need to pull that back down. Oh, my mouse is acting crazy. There we go. Here at this juncture, pull that up. I can pull that a little straighter. You see, it's just a patience game. Honestly, it really is. Learning patience is a beneficial thing, y'all. Okay, so learn to be patient. Take your time with stuff. Look how I'm cleaning that up. And if you get some wonky bits like here, I kind of feel like that point may not be necessary at all. I think I can delete it. And I think I can take that handle right there and pull that in. I'm gonna be honest with you, I kind of feel like this is kind of fun. It takes, you know what I mean? It's sort of like a little game. It's a little game. This would probably make more sense if it was kind of dead center. Move over here. Don't forget the space bar. When you're zoomed in, the space bar lets you navigate around. This point right here, probably better off to bring that all the way down. Pull this up. Now we're cooking. This isn't looking too shabby. Also, a little tip for you. I don't know if you just caught what I just did there. I broke, like the handles were going in two opposite directions, and I wanted one to go in a different direction. So what I did is I hold the Option or the Alt key while I'm clicking on the handle, and then I can change the angle of it. So that helps out a lot. Like for example, I'll do that right here too. So I'm going to grab, I want this to bend out right there, so I'm going to hold the Option key, and now I can kind of take that handle and break it and bring it up. This can come back up to here. This handle right here, I'll bend out. Again, I'm holding the Option key. So once you learn how to move these handles and anchors around, and you're able to be selective of where you need them and where you don't, it really becomes kind of a piece of cake. Again, I think you might just bend that or just drag that up.